Hi, and welcome to the Your Good News podcast with me, your host, Katherine Getty. It's easy to believe the news around us, that the world is dark and the future is the same. But what if we chose something different? What if we chose to find the good news in each day? This podcast is a collection of interviews with friends, mentors, colleagues on their good news, and some solo episodes on inspiration I find from business to health to politics and kind of everything in between. It's my hope you leave with a boost and find your good news. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Good News podcast. This is your host, Katherine Getty. Thank you for spending your time with me today. And today we have a special recap episode. I've been really loving taking a moment to look back at the last year of the Your Good News podcast and feature some of the themes that really stood out to me and some of my guests in the last year. And I think it's a helpful thing to take a pause and really celebrate where you've been and look forward. But first, good news. I am recording this episode as I set up for my mom's next trip to DC. My mom last visited in February, and the saint that she is helped me and my boyfriend pack up our apartments. I will never be able to thank her enough for that. And let's be honest, we can never thank the people in our lives, family or not, for their support and guidance and questions when we are astray or cheering us on when we need the nudge. And I can't wait to welcome her into our new apartment, our new home with our new pup, and can't wait to share more. So as I do, I pose it to you. What's your good news? What's one thing that you can hold on to? So as I record this in July of 2022, I'm continuing just appreciating the first year of the Your Good News podcast and pulling through themes that really stood out. This next theme builds on episode 55's last week's episode of limiting beliefs. And so I want to kind of move out of limiting beliefs and talk about goal setting. So in this vein, in episode 50, I talk about my personal goal setting process. For me, it includes a time at the end of the year to get really quiet. You can listen here. So first, it's start. Each year, I take time to make a vision board. And I don't for one second think that cutting out magazines is going to determine my year, but it really gives me some quiet time to distill down what the previous year has meant, to think of and to dream of the next year. And it helps me feel prepared. It helps me feel a little bit clearer for the year ahead. But what I love so much is that I think it can look like what I do is where I sit down and make a vision board, but it could be very different. It could be a 90-day goals. I've done this in the past and it was wildly helpful for me because 90 days, while it feels long, can go in a blink of an eye. It's a manageable way to set goals towards a bigger goal. It allows you to check in and that goal can build on itself. But maybe it's a month challenge. Maybe it's doing something and trying it on and see if it fits and checking in with yourself at the end of the month. Goal setting can look really different for a lot of different people, but I think it's important that we get quiet with ourselves. In my mind, goal setting includes working with others, and it includes failure, and it includes some really tough conversations. And I think a few of these clips really highlight those points. So first, from my episode with Jamie Hagan, episode 51, she breaks down goals and she talks about working with clients on building their vision. So many nuggets today. So
I know. I'm like, I could go like 80 different directions for another 80 minutes with this. Let me think. Becoming a coach has made me realize that there's so much self-discovery and growth that can happen more than I even realized. And I was 34 at the time, and I just thought my career was set for me at that point as a teacher. And I just thought that I really couldn't update or change. And I was kind of stuck there. And though I might go back into teaching one day, I might not. I really want people to know that it's never too late to start something and push yourself outside of your comfort zone, and give it a try, because nothing is permanent. And if you believe in yourself and you know that it provides happiness and joy, then it's worth trying and it's worth pursuing.
how powerful. I'm just blown away because I think we often think of a coach, or maybe it's just me. I think of a coach sometimes in a negative way, like I'm not doing something well enough on my own. But I really like how Jamie kind of joins someone in their goal. And I think that that's really powerful. Is that something that could work for you? Then from another episode with Rachel Epperson, this is more of a goal about, incorporating your health and really making a challenge to commit to fueling your body well. And I love how she describes the importance of finding things that support your goal, trying on different methods, trying on different things that will fuel your body. May that be with food or with exercise. And I just think it's important that we realize in goal setting, you might have to try a couple different methods to get to success. I feel like the reason I just connected with like how you talk about like it's, a slow journey, it's evolving. You got to try different things. You got to like see if it fits is because I think so often like that isn't the message around health. It's like you have to try this one method, like this method's the best.
I think I've tried every single method under the sun when it comes to basically everything. I'm like, food, tried it. Was vegan for 3 years. Like I used to be a psychopath, like loved all fitness workout classes. Like I've done them all still. But it's finding what works for you. And it also depends on your goals. Like, do you just want movement? Great. Do what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Go do whatever makes you feel good. Do you want to build strength and like build muscle in areas? Great. That's going to be a little different. Like, I think a lot of times it is an Instagram, it's an Instagram thing sometimes, but
Sorry.
It's clear the highway. It's like, no, it really, there's different approaches on really what your goal in fitness is or what your goal in anything is. You have to find what you actually want. And then your choices you're making are going to be a little different.
And both of these examples I recognize are both kind of health focused conversations. But I believe that these techniques of finding a coach or trying on different things can be applied to many different areas of your life. It is just about taking that time. It's about getting quiet and listening to your gut. It's the responsibility to ourselves and others to grow. It's the importance of understanding where we are and that failure may be a part of it. So from one more episode, I also want to highlight that mistakes and failure is a part of the goal process. Even as I say that, it's kind of hard. We don't like to hear the word mistake or failure, but when have you learned from only your successes? Your failures are where you really can get those life lessons. And they're not easy, but I need to take my own advice and get quiet with myself and realize that maybe there's some mistakes that have happened that I can grow from. So it is the taking one step and adjusting. So from episode 36, listen to this clip about failure. I think the unprecedented has become the precedented. And what I offer up is taking a moment to shift that perspective. And I know that when I do that and I take a moment, take a deep breath, I can find a more patient attitude. I know it's simple, but sometimes that simple reminder unlocks a big change or it unlocks a small shift. And those small shifts add up. I think that it's not always the easiest. And I think, like I said, I have to take a couple deep breaths, or I need to write down my goal, or I need to break it apart into smaller pieces. But I don't want to buy the narrative that if it isn't happening now, it isn't going to happen. Or if I have a success, that's the end of the road. I'm going to keep showing up each day. I'm going to keep showing up each moment, trying to grow, trying to challenge myself, trying to have a little fun in this thing called life, and trying to find new understanding for myself and others. So what I love about goal setting as we kind of tie the bow on this episode is that it can be just right in front of us, but we have to step into it. We have to get out of our limiting beliefs and find those people around us who will support us or challenge us. Find those methods that maybe it doesn't work the first couple of times, but try it again. Maybe it's recognizing that failure is a part of the goal setting process, and that's pretty darn cool. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Please subscribe. You can subscribe at Apple Music, at Spotify, wherever you stream podcasts. Leave a review, share with someone you know, share with someone you don't know, as Cody Ruggs would say. These little actions can really help the Your Good News podcast grow. Also, reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. My handle is at Katherine Getty, where not only you can reach out to me, but you can share ideas you have for other guests. Maybe you know someone in your community creating a lot of good. Give me feedback on this episode, and I share more about the episode and kind of the creative process. And then thank you again for joining, and tune in next week for another episode of the Your Good News podcast.